Afterward, Jake goes home, which is a broken boat in the docks. He dodges the traps he set up for strangers and happily feeds his dog. Then Jake goes through the supplies he's received as payment for the job, including a record that he plays while drinking. When he falls asleep, he dreams of sailing a brand new boat around the world. In the morning, Jake's awakened by a noise. He goes outside and finds a soldier caught in one of his traps. The guy says the king has come to meet him, so Jake leaves the boat without helping the soldier down. Inside a warehouse, August is waiting surrounded by dozens of soldiers. He explains he's hired lots of people but none of them can find things like Jake does. August also shares how he's been working hard to rebuild civilization. Jake is still not interested in the mission, but August makes him listen to him by showing him the reward, a brand new boat. The goal is to retrieve the Mona Lisa, which should be stored in a secret storage facility. Paris was one of the first cities that got attacked, so the government evacuated all its national treasures. August even promises to give Jake all the resources and food he needs, so Jake takes the job. First he goes to say goodbye to his dog and asks August's assistant to take care of his pet if he doesn't make it back. Later Jake makes it to the airport and gets worried because the plane they'll be using has bullet holes in it. August shows him a map and tells him what routes to take, letting him know where he'll have to avoid rebels. In the city center, one of August's contacts will find Jake to guide him the rest of the way. Once the Mona Lisa is retrieved, August will drop the equipment for evacuation 3 hours later. In the evening, Jake finally leaves on the plane. The young pilot is confident that everything is working perfectly, but during the flight Jake continues to worry because he sees the guy struggling with the controls. The pilot admits that they'll run out of fuel halfway there, so they need to have their parachutes ready. Jake asks for tips since he never used a parachute before, but the pilot isn't helpful. Eventually Jake falls asleep and dreams about sailing again. This time there's a woman with him. He's suddenly awakened when the plane shakes and he discovers they're under attack. The pilot is doing his best to dodge all the shots, but he announces they'll have to drop earlier. Once they find a safe spot, Jake jumps out and releases the parachute. He floats down for a while and ends up having a rather painful landing. Afterward Jake gets moving only to find various fires in the area. To his horror, rebels have been hanged for their actions. Suddenly a tank bursts through a building and aims the cannon at Jake, but before it can shoot the tank is hit by a missile. Then a bunch of rebels come out of hiding and throw a grenade inside the tank to kill the soldiers inside. After the rebels leave, Jake finally keeps going. In the city of Amiens, soldiers terrorize the streets under the leadership of the cruel warlord Volkov. He loves to play chess because it teaches him war tactics, and he forces civilians to play with him. When his latest opponent reveals he doesn't know how to play, Volkov shoots him on the spot. His right hand Gornich informs him that an intruder was seen jumping from a plane, so Volkov sends out his men to find him. In the morning, Jake makes it to St. Quentin. Everyone here lives in poverty and in fear of Volkov. Jake checks the back of a car and takes some old clothes to hide his nice ones. On the main square, soldiers are reminding everyone of the rules, which include a strict curfew. Anyone who breaks the rules will be severely punished, and they prove this by shooting 2 rebels. When Jake tries to leave, he finds himself surrounded by soldiers who ask him to drop his bag. He throws it at a man's face and starts fighting the team, trapping a soldier's hand on the car door and smashing another guy's head on the window. A soldier tries to attack him with a knife, but Jake blocks him and stabs him with his own weapon. In just a few seconds everyone's down and Jake gets ready to leave, but another soldier comes out of hiding and gets ready to shoot Jake. However, he suddenly gets his throat sliced by a freedom fighter. It turns out that Drea is August's contact. She's been watching Jake the whole time but didn't help because she wanted to see if he could handle himself since things are going to get more